Hey everyone, it's Brad here, and I'm coming at you guys with my updated Magician Pendulum deck profile. So this is going to be post Breakers of Shadows, and it's going to be what I'm planning on running after my testing. And I'm really liking this deck still. I know I've been talking about Cosmo and Perform Mages and Performer Pals, but I really still am in love with this deck. I've been playing it for just about 7 months now, and it's really a solid deck. It's definitely going to be the cheapest of the decks that are out and competitive in Tier 1, but that isn't why I'm playing it. This is something just different, I feel. So we have access to a scale that can pop back row, which is exclusive to this deck. I mean, Perform Mages and Performa Pals are going to just suffer because they're going to be playing through Solemn Notice, Solemn Warning, Great Horn of Heaven. I mean, there's just so many cards that are going to destroy them. Just Fairy Wind, Twin Twister. I mean, so much stuff is going to wreck them because they're expected to be the best deck. So many people are going to be preparing for them. But what this deck has is it has outs to all of those, which is just amazing. So I didn't change all that much about the deck, except one major fundamental thing. I've gone away from rank 4s with the Perform Mages. As you saw in my previous videos, I think I have the deck list still. This was a deck list I was using. Yeah, so I had the Perform Mages in there, and now I've gone completely away from that. I dropped all the level 4s besides the necessary ones like Skull Crobat Joker and Wisdom Eye, and I've made it more rank 6 and 7 based. So this allows us to do a lot of things. It allows us to be more consistent. It allows us to not have to worry about our levels so much, because there's very few times I'm going to be worried about if I have 2 level 7s or if I have 2 level 6s to make the XZs I need. The other thing is it makes it a lot cooler. Let's be honest, there's a ton of rank 4 decks. Who wants another one of those? But another thing I've gone ahead and done is I've made it incorporate the fusion spell and the ritual monster. So I think these are actually really good for the deck. The fusion spell wasn't so great before this format, but now that there's a possibility of your opponent going Cyber Dragon Infinity Raffalisa, the fusion spell is a great out for that, because if they don't negate it, on summon a Vortex Dragon, you're going to target their Cyber Dragon Infinity to be destroy or return to the hand. They're obviously going to negate that, because if they respond then with Raffalisa, you're going to have to, you would negate Raffalisa, and then they would negate with Cyber Dragon Infinity. So you would still be destroyed, but they would have neither of their effects resolving now this turn. So, I mean, it works really well outing that. So the other thing is this monkey board guy is actually really dumb. You've probably seen him in Pepe, but this way I'm not actually running Pendulum Wizard because I think it's inconsistent with this deck, and I honestly don't think it's that great of a card outside of pure Perform Mages and Perform Pal decks. I mean, obviously you can run the Draco Slayers because they're just amazing, but I think that card isn't going to be beneficial in Magicians. So Monkey Board is going to go ahead and add Skull Crobat Joker. Skull Crobat Joker is going to go ahead and add Wisdom Eye. Going to play Wisdom Eye, pop it, get your 8 scale, and now you pretty much went +2 and kind of a half because you have Wisdom Eye in your extra deck now, just from activating Monkey Board. And this play is not just what you do every time. Opening Monkey Board and Sky Iris can lead into you making Oddeyes Gravity Dragon for free, pretty much. You would get to add your Skull Crobat Joker, activate Skull Crobat Joker, add it, and then you would destroy your Monkey Board, add the Advent. So really good combos with this deck. I mean, the fact that Wisdom Eye can work while it has Monkey Board in the other scales is amazing. The fact that the others don't is something that is not amazing. That is definitely kind of a problem that it clashes with it, but that's why we are running Sky Iris and multiple ways to get to it. I am tempted to chop out the chicken games and put in another Sky Iris, but I feel like it adds a lot of room for your deck to brick. Sky Iris is very necessary to see now. I don't know how else to put it. It's actually very, very needed to play. But if you have too much reliance on it, and if you have too much of it in your deck, there are chances that you're going to brick. So I'm keeping it as is, and I'm not being 100% reliant on it. So I think the deck is actually really strong. The deck is probably tied, if not a little bit better, with what I've seen like the best Pepe decks do. And honestly, it's because of Dragon Pit. Dragon Pit is just so good. There are so many counter traps out right now that are just going to screw with pretty much any Pendulum deck besides this deck. So if we think about this, there's Solemn Notice, Solemn Warning, Grand Horn of Heaven, or is it Great Horn? I don't know. I'm bothered by this. It is Grand Horn of Heaven. Wow, I didn't expect that. Okay, so Grand Horn of Heaven, actual Horn of Heaven, and then we've got cards like Fairy Wind. Obviously, we've got Wavering Eyes, Twin Twisters, a new card coming out in the set. But all of those are going to mess with pendulums. And this deck is not nearly hurt by half of those. I mean, we have some of the time we're going to be under Pendulum Call, and we're not going to be able to be destroyed. The other ones we're going to be able to pop, like the counter traps, we're going to be able to pop with Dragon Pit. And then if we have Sky Iris out, our scales aren't going to be able to be targeted by Twin Twister. I mean, there's a lot of protection in this deck. And then also, the monsters you can summon, like Kieran, are also really good for protection. I mean, yeah, sure, a Cyber Dragon Infinity is good, but if you negate the wrong thing, and I make a Big Eye, did it do its job that well? Think about that. If I'm able to take your Cyber Dragon Infinity and use it against you, did it do its job that well? It probably didn't. Kieran, you aren't going to have that problem. Because guess what? You return it to your hand. Or, if they take it with their Big Eye, oh wait, they can't. It can't be targeted. So, we have a lot of defense in this deck. Not sure if I touched on this yet. Gravity Dragon, it's really, really good at outing a lot of back row, which I'm expecting to see from a lot of people. So, people are like, Solemn Notice is out, let's play triple of it and just play Seraph and just spam Cyber Dragon Infinity. I mean, yeah, that's not a bad deck, except if you set triple Solemn Notice and what's that new counter trap? I gotta think of this again too. You discard one of the same kind. It's probably not on here. It's like, well, you discard when your opponent activates a effect, you can discard one card of the same kind and negate it. Whatever that is, it's a TCG exclusive. Really, really good. Except none of those stop a Gravity Dragon. And once you summon a Gravity Dragon, none of those are going to keep you alive. So, I'm just expecting this to be people running a lot of back row right away in the format. And I just feel like Gravity Dragon is going to help us push through that. Also, not sure if I touched on this, but Oddeyes Fusion is probably one of the best outs to really good boards now. Because, like, I don't even know how many amazing problem monsters there are out right now. Cyber Dragon Infinity, Traptrix Raffalisa, Majesty's Fiend. I mean, there's just so many good cards out that are problem monsters. But Oddeyes Fusion definitely helps out a lot of those. Not all of them, but it's really, really good now, I think. I used to not like it. I didn't run it at the regionals I've gone to. And, yeah. So, I'm running one Twin Twister in the main. I've considered two, but then I opened two Twin Twister, and then I stopped considering two. So, one Twin Twister seems enough for the main. I've also considered making it a Gigabyte or a Hat Tricker to try and out more cards like Anti-Spell. Because honestly, that's what this is in here for. It's in there for Floodgates. And I feel like my main deck doesn't have enough outs to Floodgates currently, but my side deck definitely is. So we got double Denko, really, really good if there's lots of counter traps out. Triple Fog King. I'm playing against a lot of Monarchs. If you summon a Fog King and you summon a Kirin, you actually win against Monarchs. I mean, I'll go into that a bit more if you don't understand, but you do. So double Maxi. You never want to see multiple, but you definitely want to try and see it. So I side this in against Perform Pals and Perform Mages. We got Samurai Cavalry of Repeteer. This is really, really good against Cosmos, but this deck has one of the best Cosmo matchups in the game now. So a lot of people are still going to have trouble because, I mean, Dark Destroyer is an amazing card. So, Cosmo Dark Destroyer, you guys know it, though they're also getting Dark Eclipser, which is another 3000 attack untargetable. So, I've pretty much come up with the best out to this. It is, go ahead and activate your Oddeyes Fusion, summon a Vortex Dragon in attack mode. So now you have a guy that's going to be able to negate either of their effects. This is assuming a little bit of setup, yes, or just activating 2 Wisdomize. And now you're going to go ahead and Pendulum Summon 2 level 6s. And then you're going to go ahead and make Utopia Beyond. And now you're going to be able to slowly kill all of their untargetable 3000 attack guys that are now 0 attack. And they're not going to get their effects to float down because Vortex can activate in the damage step because it can negate. If it didn't negate the activation, it would not be able to activate in the damage step, but it does. So it's really good. But yeah, if their 3000 attack guys no longer float, and they're no longer 3000 attack, does it really matter if they can't be targeted? Not really. So this deck has an amazing Cosmo matchup. Timebreaker Magician, one of the new magicians. This is going to be pretty much one of the best outs to Cyber Dragon Infinity, another problem monster. So, first effect, when this card's Pendulum Summoned from the hand and no other cards are Pendulum Summoned at the same time, you can make this card's attack double its original attack. Not that great. But once returned, you can target one monster in the field, banish both it and this card from the field, but return them in your next standby phase. So this is a really good out to Cyber Dragon Infinity and Raffalisa. So both of those are really good cards right now, and I feel like this is kind of needed for the extra protection against them, but it's definitely needed, I think. We have one Magical Spring. I'm only running one of it. It's not as good as some other cards out right now because Twin Twister exists, and it will just pop it before they activate Luster and Plushfire, or they go ahead and Pendulum Summon their Pendulum Wizard, sorry, not Time Wizard. So this isn't going to be as live as often for you to plus, but I mean, it's still good. We got Double Mistaken Arrest. This is one of my favorite cards right now for a Floodgate. So this is assuming you went and beat Perform Pals and Perform Mages in some game, whether it's game 1 or 2, and now they're given choice. So you side this in. Chances are they're going first if they're anybody you need to worry about. If you don't need to worry about the player, like they aren't smart about going second with that deck, then you probably don't even need to side this in. But you get to go first, so now you set your Mistaken Arrest and set no other spell or traps. Maybe set up your scales, I don't know. Normal summon, or just make a defensive board, whatever you're doing. So now you have this, and now if they go Twin Twister on your single back row, they use 2 cards to target your Mistaken Arrest. And now you can activate Mistaken Arrest, and they just use 2 cards, and you still got off the effect of it. So they have 4 cards, and you have 4 cards now. And they're not going to be able to do any of their shenanigans because they can't search. So best case scenario, they're going to go ahead and activate Gia Turtle, Monkey Board, draw a card, then Pendulum Summon 3, which would be to make like probably best case scenario again. It would be like Trick Clown and I don't know, Luster. No, probably not even that. It'd just be like best case scenario would be Trick Clown, Mass Chameleon, and another spellcaster. So they'd make Omega Trapeze. That's like one situation they can kill you. There isn't another I can think of. But they would actually have to open up 5 perfect cards. And now you realize the deck is good because it doesn't have to open up the perfect right cards. It's because it can search a lot of them. But now they can't do that. So it pretty much just destroys them. And then this deck actually can function under Mistaken Arrest for a turn. If they have no developed board, you're going to be able to just OTK straight through it. And double Twin Twisters just out for more floodgates. So in the extra deck, I kept a few rank 4s in, such as Dweller, Castell, Diamond Dyer, Emerald, and Trapeze. So I know the deck isn't that focused on rank 4s, but these are amazing rank 4s. I have Vortex Dragon in there at 1, Oddeyes Meteor Burst at 1, Oddeyes Absolute at 2. I have Big Eye at 1, Ebon, and Oddeyes Rebellion Dragon for the rank 7s. Then we have M7, Norito, and Utopia Beyond for rank 6s. Pretty much every card in here is necessary except for Diamond Dyer, even though I would argue he is. Emerald makes like disgusting plays with bringing back Dragon Pit and bringing back Dragon Pulse. Really, really cool plays you can make with that. So I think he is necessary. But yeah, so this is the list I'm using. I'm going to go ahead and go over the other magicians really quick. That isn't right. There we go. So we are getting Tuning Magician, which is a level 1 tuner. And it's going to be able to special itself from the hand while you have 2 Magician Pendulum cards in your Pendulum Zone. But then you banish him when he leaves the field. Other effect is your opponent gains 400 and you take 400 damage. I don't understand why they did that. But what it allows you to make is Enlightenment Paladin, which says if this is made with a Magician Pendulum monster as a material, so you'd use any of your level 7s in that level 1 tuner, you can add 1 spell card from your graveyard to your hand. Really, really good, because there are just so many amazing spells in this deck. And then it says, when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. So, pretty good. Not too bad, but its first effect is definitely the one that makes it unique and good. But the other magicians we're getting, I went over Timebreaker. We're getting Oversight Magician. Now, I've considered this. It's another level 7 low scale. So we have one similar to it, Janki Magician. Or Janki, I'm not sure. But you can reveal a Pendulum monster in your hand, then target a Pendulum card in your zone. It becomes the revealed Pendulum scale until the end of this turn. So there are definitely applications for this. You can go ahead and do like double Wisdom Eye and bring out Oath and Oversight. Oath can add back like a Dragon Pit from your extra deck, and then you can reveal it with Oversight and then have a 2 and a 8 scale now. So really, really good in some applications, but I'm still running Janki over it just because the negation of lights is a lot better and the 2500 attack is a lot better than the 2000, and I just needed an extra low scale level 7 in some situations, so I have to run one of them. So I don't know which I'll end up running for sure, but definitely running one of those two. And I think that is it for the new support coming out in the set for Magician Pendulum. But in theory, Monkey Board is a support card too. We got the Gravity Dragon, Oddeyes Gravity Dragon coming out too, which is technically support. Oddeyes Advent, which is really, really good. Unfortunately, it is like Gravity Dragon is like the only thing you would ever want to summon. Sure, you could summon Decisive Armor, but why would you want to pop one face down when you could just return them all to your opponent's hand? And then, I mean, there's Lord of Red. There we go. Well, I don't know. It's something, but that's another card you can maybe do it with, but yeah, I think this deck actually got a lot better, even though the other decks did get significantly better comparatively. Like, they went from a lower to a equal instead of being as good as Magician Pendulums have been. So their other decks are catching up, but yes, this deck did get better. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think this is probably going to be one of the best decks, and not to mention it's pretty budget compared to Pepe, which is going to have Cyber Dragon Infinity, triple Time or Pendulum Wizard. I always want to say Time Wizard. And then it's also going to have Raffalisa, just tons and tons of expensive cards. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, this is my exact build. It's working amazingly. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.